it's Ashley Collins, aka the Onto Dragons. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Breakup Diaries. So this video was supposed to be about the working class. I don't know why I wrote that down, talking about working folk. And I sincerely don't know why I wrote that down. I was talking about politicians, sororities, fraternities, and it feels like the same club. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like the working class is like way up here and they're preaching to you about like how hard life is and how much of a struggle it is? And then you're like, but then where are you? Like, I see people post stuff online all the time about them like going out to nightclubs and stuff like that. I don't go out as often as I used to. God, I wish, right? But I see them post all the time. They talk about like, the struggle of the man, the struggle of the black man, which we're going to talk about in a second. And I'm like, but it costs you $30 to get into the club. I know that drink, as a former bartender, I know that drink was at least $20, plus you got food, which is at least $50. And then plus you have to pay for parking. And if you didn't pay for parking, then that means you took an Uber. Good for you. Good for you for taking an Uber. But what is the definition of the working class anymore? And as a politician, don't you work for us? So why are you a millionaire? I'm paying for you to be a millionaire as I struggle and debate whether I want to. Do I want to get deodorant or do I want to get dish soap with this paycheck? Do I want to get water bottles? Or I guess I could go to the local restaurant and get water. But nowadays they're being sticklers about us even getting water because people keep fucking stealing. But I want to talk about something that everyone else in the world is talking about. AI, right? I was just talking to a friend of mine, Wade Simmons, and we did a live together. I haven't done a live in such a long time. But I sincerely enjoy doing them. Oh, we're going to talk about AI in a second. I had an idea. Feel free to tell me if this is stupid or not, because it probably is stupid. But I had an idea of, what if I interviewed local businessmen/women in my area and helped to promote their business? And I don't know, I think that'd be a really good progressive idea, because not a lot of, you do see it every now and then on news channels. I watch this lady sometimes throughout the week, and I put on the news channel. I'm like, oh, what's happening in the world today? And they always talk about stuff that's happening all the way over there and in continent number 6. And I'm like, but what about the local artists? What about the local restaurant owners? What was I about to say? A food maker. That's so stupid. What about our theme parks? Like, what about the zoo? Why can't we talk about the zoo? Why do we have to talk about what's going on in continent number 2? Yes, there's a war. There's always been a war. Let's be honest with each other. The Middle East has always disliked us. God, why can't I talk today? I did lose my voice last week, actually. I lost my voice. My throat was swollen. And, so like I'm starting to slowly get back to talking again. But the Middle East has always hated us. And I don't get paid for this anyway. I'm just going to say it out loud. I spoke with a friend of mine years ago about, do they believe that America should be the world's police? And they said no. We work the way that we do. You do yours. Leave us alone. If some of us come over to your side of the country and they don't assimilate, then we'll talk about that. But for now, leave us alone. And now what you're thinking is, so we shouldn't care about the women and children in other countries. What would Jesus do? Would he go into another country and say, stop with everything that you're doing and listen to what I say? I don't think that's what he did. I think he said, I'm going to offer my hand, and if you choose to take it, then walk with me. But if not, you can stay where you are. I was watching, and I'm still slowly watching. It takes me like 2 or 3 days to watch a movie nowadays. But I was watching Citizen Vigilante with Armie Hammer. Because I don't know what happened with him with Me Too. It sounds like a girl got bitter and she was trying to get back at him. Who's guilty of doing that, right? Who's done that before? But it's a very interesting film because it's not going to win any Oscars or Emmys, not because of the content, not because what it's about. It's just not very, it's very John Wick. It's very like action filmy. It's very The Expendables. I think what makes people uncomfortable is the subject matter, that it's happening present tense right now and you don't care or you can't do anything. Or we can do something right now here in the Americas. When I talk about the Americas, I'm talking about Canada and the United States. We can do something for that. We can do something for Europe, For them, they're actively choosing it, which sounds so evil. God, this sounds so evil. Which makes it even more evil though I'm changing the subject to AI. I was talking to Wade about how the falling apart of Hollywood with this whole Supergirl thing. Oh my God, did you guys see that? You didn't see it because you didn't see Supergirl. Hollywood is falling apart in front of our faces, and we're laughing. We're all giggling. You got what's coming to you, but maybe it's all by design. Because I've been wondering to myself, how have you been getting 400 million, I don't know, I just picked a number, dollars to make a film that you lost money on, but how are you still in business? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that they're doing this intentionally. I think that there's going to be what's the word I'm looking for? A buyout, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Feel free to correct me, but some kind of buyout where it's like, oh, look at us, we're Hollywood, we're negative trillions of dollars in debt, who's gonna help us? And I think that that's where AI is going to take its place. Did you see, who was it? Willy Wonka, Gene Hackman. They're using his voice in some kind of reality TV show. And I'm thinking to myself, did he already release that? Or is that already in our agreement when we signed the contract? And who looks at the contracts when you sign stuff? When you're acting, right? I know I don't. I just want the paycheck. I know that Val Kilmer intentionally signed it. I know that James Earl Jones did and didn't, because he's already done it for like when he was alive with the past cartoons and whatnot and video games with Star Wars. But did he know that they're going to continually use his voice in the next 500 years? And so I think that this fallout of Hollywood, I think the reason why they're not panicked is because they're like, we already have a plan B, guys. So just enjoy the slot for now. And then continue giving us your faces. Continue giving us your voices. And we'll just keep giving you slop because we're really not losing that much money. I don't know. Just a theory. Okay, now I'm just going to read this. If AI-driven software replaces real human labor or ends up sucking some other software that isn't AI-driven, will it replace working class individuals? How much human labor will end up being replaced And when? When is the bonus question. I don't know if you've seen the AI robots they've built in Asia, which everyone's like, oh, that's so cool, Transformers. But I'm like, no, but like, do you realize even now, I don't really like to go out to eat to fast food restaurants because having worked in fast food restaurants all my life, I know what we do. You know, I know you didn't wash your hands after you used the bathroom. I know you did it. So that's why I don't really like to go to eat fast food. But like the past couple of months, I've noticed that there's really no one at the front counter and there's no one at the tables. I went to a restaurant the other day. I go with my boyfriend to pick up Ubers, and I'm like, wow, it's very dead in here. Where is everybody? But the Uber drivers are making money for now. I was listening to someone, something from Valuetainment saying how the Waymo, feel free to correct me, vehicles are making so much money for deliveries, for taxi drivers, etc., etc. And they're like, but it's good because there are less accidents, which is, it's good. That's good. So now I need to get a Waymo car. Now I don't need a car anymore. I don't know. God, my handwriting is seriously getting worse and worse. But in my defense, I'll call you in a second, Mom. I'll call you in a second, Mom. In my defense, my handwriting has always been bad. Blame my mother. Whatever the result is, as the sinking of the Titanic continues, deck chairs will be shuffled around with grandiose, so the captain can project the image that he's doing something. Who is the captain of this ship? You're thinking Trump, whatever. God, you guys' obsession with Trump is really, really sad. Like, I know that I'm obsessed with Chris Evans, but like, geez, I'm not like, waking up every morning being like, what's he eating today? Like, we're not a dictatorship. He's not going to be around for the next 20 years. He's going to be around for another year and a half, right? Which I did see a video of him the other day. He does look a little weak, which makes me quite sad. Quite sad. Not because he's our current leader, but just because he's a human. I was looking at a video of Morgan Freeman. No, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Wow, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting how our black actors are slowly getting very old, and we can only think of like the same 5 or 6 of them? It's very interesting that I did that. Okay. It's so funny. I wrote down Betty Boop. I don't know if you've seen this recently or not. Oh my God, now the garbage truck wants to come. Look at that. Look at the irony in that. I was looking at an article talking about how what's-her-face, I don't know who she is, the chick from Abbott Elementary is going to be the next Betty Boop. How many more race swaps do we need? And everyone's like, oh, well, you don't know the original story, the original origin. Hello Troy can be black because it's fictional. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, or you can just make your own unique story. Instead of just stealing it from someone else, instead of copying from someone else and making an excuse, why don't you just make your own unique character? And say, oh, this was inspired by Betty Boop. This was inspired by Hello Troy. This was inspired by fill in the blank of any other race swapped character at the moment. Oh, he's mad at me now. Okay, let me wrap this up. Um, um, um. Oh, I want to do some shout outs to Jake Monroe, Nate the Lawyer, Critical Drinker, Chad L. Jackson, Jesse Lee Peterson, and Covert Film. Those are some channels that I watch to help keep me sane. Um, Last but not least, why do incentives matter? Incentives matter because you have the opportunity to choose or perform however you like, which some people may consider that as a libertarian, which I'm not feeling like a libertarian as much anymore. Because I feel like they're getting a little bit too hateful, a little bit too spiteful. I'm like, I thought that we were like on the fence about stuff. I thought we were like, you're gonna cross the ocean. I'll sit here, bring back the boat to me. You know? Ignore how complex the incentives are. Without effort, motivation declines. Accept the consequences. Incentive does not mean no consequences. Freedom equals nobody prevents you from acting voluntarily. Freedom means you realize there are no limits to your potential. The cost of being indifferent, the cost of not caring, the cost of not lying. I was listening to a Johnny Cash song the other day, and I've only shot a couple of films. I'm trying to write a book right now. I would love to shoot a film. Doing a play right now as well. When do you sleep, Ashley? Whatever. I think that I'm gonna steal a quote from someone. I don't know the name of the person at the moment. Feel free to correct me. But I think that so much is missing color. Like with the Odyssey. Everything seems very brown and very gray. I'm sure you're obsessed with Dune. I still don't get it. The book sounds very interesting. The book sounds very interesting, but the movie, whatever. But I think that life is lacking color. Even The Devil Wears Prada uses color. I don't know why I said that, but we're gonna leave it at there. Um, I've made it a conscious effort all my life to always look up, not emotionally. I mean, I guess emotionally I should look up, but physically I always tend to look up, and I like to make shapes of the clouds. So I'll leave you with that. Make a shape of the cloud today, and then try it tomorrow, and then maybe it'll become a habit of yours as well. But don't do it while you're driving. God, please don't do it while you're driving. Okay, bye.